So just after a brief conversation, you're
Sure.
more or less, is there, you're more or less kind of struggling, not struggling, but encountering similar
No, I
results,
like the word struggling,
essentially.
so that's true.
Okay.
I haven't done much of conversion from Agent Locator for last 2 years now. And
Okay.
whereas when I started with Agent Locator in the first year, I did 6 deals through Agent Locator, so that was
Okay.
nice. But
Yes.
last 2 to 3 years, I don't know, it's me or the quality of the leads or just the people not ready.
Yeah.
So
And it
not
could be
seen any conversion yet in
a
last two
hundred.
years. So
Yeah. And it was probably a very different market when you came in too, right? So it's
yeah. So I
putting
started
that into consideration.
Agent Locator in 2017,
Okay.
early 2016, I would say mid 2016 to 2017. So things
Yeah.
were moving up. So every year,
Hmm.
you used to do some deals,
Yeah.
and then, that was my faith in Agent Locator that yes, we do get someone genuine there. But
Hmm.
now for the last 2, 3 years, I'm trying to focus back that I've been paying Agent Locator, but I haven't got much of luck. But
Hmm.
I feel that it is something which do work. I have seen it myself. I've experienced it myself. So it's just, how to make this whole process better. And
You
you
betcha.
guys are the experts, so maybe, because there are a lot of new things in Agent Locator too, which I guess, we just use it like I would give an example of as if iPhone can do a lot of things, then we all know. And we just use to
Hmm.
text or, call our friends or do a video call, right? So similarly, Agent
Yes.
Locator can offer much more features and benefits which hardly people use. So
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. They're
yeah,
all
so
there.
that's
It's
what I was
just
thinking.
in
It's
many
all
cases
there.
it's
Yeah,
setting it up and getting it going for you and getting it to work
exactly. I
for
think
you,
setting it
right?
up and just
Yeah.
making use of every possible feature like task, follow-up buttons and stuff like
Hmm.
that, right?
A
So I
hundred
think,
percent.
yeah, because we all lack in follow-up. That's I have realized over time, no matter what we tell, how many alarms we put in the phone, but we do skip a lot of
They end up
things.
becoming
Yeah.
white noise, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. You just start to overlook it. And are you, so I know our market right now and everywhere and actually across Canada, different provinces are facing or encountering different markets. In some areas, it's a seller's market. In some, or provinces, I'm going to say, it's seller's market. In some provinces, it's a buyer's market. Some are kind of balanced, so to speak.
Hmm.
Do you find that you're encountering, so again, you're finding that it's harder to convert them? Are you overall in your market currently, are you finding that, what's your most common objection that you're encountering when it comes to these online leads as to why you're not able to get them to move on to the next phase of their search?
So I think the number one reason which I face, if somebody answers
Is
the
there
phone, number
anything?
one is that they say, "Oh, I was just browsing, maybe I'm not ready, I'm just looking." So that's something, which you're
Mm-hmm.
looking, you have a reason, right? So how to open up or get your foot into that door so that
Mm-hmm.
they tell you more, because kind of conversation stops because when you say, I'm not ready, I was just looking, I was just curious, I see, if people are registering online and they're looking at a $10 million property or $8 million, I know that's just waste of time sometimes, most of the time, because
Yeah.
they're just looking at
Unless they're
random,
looking at a lot of them on a regular basis.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Because I've seen
Yes.
leads which
100%.
which is looking at a condo for 500,000, and then the next listing they're checking is like 6 million. So it doesn't make sense at all, right?
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
then
So let me
yeah,
ask
Yeah.
you, Shikhar.
yeah.
So just because I'm curious, what makes you curious about what do you want to know from them, right? They're on there looking, but I'm just looking. What do you want to know? Like what question do you really want to ask them?
The question which I want to ask them, if you're looking, let's meet in person, because of what I've seen that the deals which I closed earlier, if I'm able to set up a in-person meeting, then the lead definitely gets converted or the chances of conversion much higher. So if what I feel that which stops my pushing, that if you say I'm just looking, I'm not ready, I'm gonna call you back, you know, how much can you call them then? Because then they get
Mhm.
irritated if you and I've seen a lot of people, continuously, because Agent Locator likes to send a lot of text messages. that are you still looking, blah, blah, blah. So I feel that somewhat at that point, they just unsubscribe because of the text messages. They don't mind the email that much, right? But it's just that, you want to talk more so that I know they're looking. They're definitely looking. It's not that
So
they
I
don't
just
have
want to
any
back
plan.
up just for a
Yeah.
second because you said something that really rung of some truth. When I asked you, what is it that you really want to know? What question do you want to ask them? It's, well, when do you want to meet? So, question for you, do you feel that everyone that's looking at properties are ready to buy a house?
I don't feel that they're ready immediately, but I
Correct.
feel that that thought is definitely there in their mind that they're considering either
So,
they're
if you are perfectly healthy, right?
right,
And the doctor tells you you got to come in for you got to come in for this checkup.
right.
How high of a priority is it for you to take time out of your day to go to the doctor when you're completely 100% healthy and have no issues whatsoever?
So personally, I would say it is important. I do feel that even if you feel healthy, you should get a regular checkup.
But
So
if
I
it's
would
not even
look
your
for it.
normal checkup, if he just says you got to come in and you've
Yeah,
already
then I
you
don't,
just had your
you
checkup,
know, yeah, I probably won't
it's not a
go.
priority, right?
Yeah, it's not a priority then. Yeah,
So what we have to remember is this is 2025
right.
and everyone has access to everything online,
Exactly. I
more
agree.
so than they ever have before. And I mean, people don't even come out of their homes. They have their groceries delivered. They have their Walmart deliveries and their Amazon delivery. People don't even leave their house except for going to work. They have food delivered, groceries delivered, they're everything, right? So they're
Right.
used to being online. We have to change our mentality to finding out. And, I always go back to some things just never change. And I really believe that all of the everything that I put together years ago is evergreen. Because the reality is, when you walk into a store and the sales clerk says to you, "Hi, welcome in. Is there anything I can help you with today?" What do you say?
Until unless I'm looking for something specific, I just say, "Oh, I'm just looking."
Right. But if you have an urgency because you've got to meet someone in 10 minutes and you don't even know where the heck the item is in the store,
Yeah, you will ask.
right? Because it's different because
Hmm.
there's an urgency. So honestly, I don't want to meet with you if you're not buying for a year or two or 3 years or 4 years or don't even know, right? I want to have the conversation. So we really have to turn that mindset of, okay, you walk in the store, no, you can't help me with anything. I'm just browsing. Well, if you were to buy something today, what would it be for? Business, casual,
Hmm.
or special occasion? So if we put that format to people looking for homes, well, you're online looking. Let me just ask, right? If you were hypothetically ever going to buy a house in the future, what would that be? When would that be? So
Hmm.
that way we can go a little bit deeper because our urgency is I want my paycheck now. I want you to buy a house today. But we have to take our expectation and meet their urgency. So once we understand the reason that they would be making that move, then we can meet that urgency, right? Because they don't want to be urgent. Like if you literally have an hour to kill and you're just going in browsing the store just to kind of get your fix because you were early for an appointment and you have an hour to
Hmm.
kill, you don't want bothered. But you'll entertain small talk, right? Oh yeah,
Hmm.
I'm a realtor.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I'm this. Oh yeah, I'm that. And you're finding more out about people. So we really do have to come with that mindset of, well, if you were hypothetically going to be buying a house, then we know how to build our pipeline because then they don't feel threatened. They don't feel like we're pushing something that's not outside of their time frame. We're just having a general conversation about what would have to happen in their life to make that move.
Hmm.
And
No,
we
fair
really
enough.
do have to be mindful of building the pipeline because if we don't have deals today, right now, what were we doing? What conversations were we having 90 to 120 days ago,
Right.
or last year, or 2 years ago? And the number one objective is that we need to really that we need to really focus on is how can you remember me when it does become urgent? What can I do in the course of the days, weeks, months, and years for you that you will remember me? Because I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be doing real estate till the day is old. So, how would you like me to communicate with you? What would be helpful for you? How often would you like me to check in with you? Then, when you have those really good conversations, that is not white noise that's popping up on your phone anymore because you know that whatever it is that you are going to be doing with this lead, you know that that is leading to that face-to-face meeting. If you do
Right.
everything correctly along that stage, and that's why I always like to put it back in the lead's lap. What do you want me to do over the course of the next couple of years? I don't want to bother you, but I don't want you to forget me. There's a crap ton of agents out there. But what I can tell you is there's a crap ton of really bad agents out there. And I
Right.
want to make sure that your investment is fully protected. And the more I know about you, your family, your wants, your needs, just like a doctor, right? The more I can diagnose the problem, the easier it is for me to provide the cure when that time is ready.
Yeah, when you say it, it sounds so easy and so correct. You know, I'm trying to take notes too. Few lines I really like that, especially, in this scenario when people say, I'm just browsing. And when you said, oh, hypothetically, if you have to buy, what will you buy and when will you buy?
Yeah.
This is definitely a question I think that logical people will not, just pass. They might just answer. And, oh, yeah, I have a dream home and I would like to buy in a year or 2 years or 3 years time, right?
Yeah.
And second takeaway, which I say definitely that we don't want to bother you, but we don't want you to forget us because of other calls you're getting. Probably, you've registered in many of the sites. You know, at the
Yeah.
same time, as I said, that I feel that these conversations do make a connection, and if we do everything right, then possibly in-person meeting will be there.
Mhm.
But even if it's sometimes, if it's not urgent or there is no urgency for the person to buy or if he's looking to sell, if we meet in person, that connection becomes kind of real. And I've seen that,
Right.
those leads, even if after 6 months, they decide to buy, they tend to call you because you had met them in person. It was just not a call because you meet a person in physically, it's kind of more real, right, to remember.
Well, and that's where it's thinking outside the box of working smarter, not harder. And I really feel with the way communication is, with the way customer service is today, we need to go back to those grassroots of really connecting with people on a different level because we've lost that personal touch. We've
100%.
truly, when was the last time you went somewhere that was service oriented and you had over the top customer service?
Can't remember any place top of my mind, to be honest.
But if you did,
Oh
you'd
yeah,
be
if I remember now, I went to Olive Garden, Vegas this year, and the server was exceptional. So
it stands
that
out.
is, yeah, it stands out. And then I didn't experience anybody else like her.
Yeah, it stands out. And you're like, I wish I could mold you and put you in every restaurant that I go to, right? And that's the experience that we really need to be able to bring to these people. And 10 20 years ago, client appreciations. I don't honestly know of many agents anymore that are truly doing client appreciations. And why can't you do something if and this is where I'm always so big on finding that bullseye of we call it our sandbox of our market. so that you can really have community. People are looking to be connected with other people and they don't know how to connect anymore because, like I said, they don't leave their homes.
Mhm.
So by having little block parties and going with the theme of now, okay, I don't know if you guys do Cinco de Mayo. We just had Cinco de Mayo here in the United States on May 5th. We have Mother's Day coming up. You know, you can always do something. If you have people's addresses, you can always do something special when they're, I mean, and then you even got every day, there's something to celebrate in a day. It's like National Hot Dog Day, National Mustard Day, National Pretzel Day, National, I mean, you got national every day. You can just Google it and find out what National Day is
Mm.
today. And start communicating that with people so that you can be remembered. And then just, I mean, well, when we had our restaurant, it was National Hot Dog Day, but we were a Cajun restaurant, so it didn't make sense to do hot dogs. So we did physical dogs. So I connected with the Humane Society, with all of the pet stores and the groomers, and I pulled a whole pet audience together, and we pulled off I don't know, my word just went right out of my head, a contest. So we had the dogs dress up and they had like whatever dog was best dressed. We had the panel of all of the sponsors that did the voting. So we had a vet, we had a groomer, we had a place that sold dog food. They were, and then we had a lady that actually wrote a book about dogs that was there promoting her book. There's so much that we can do to create community with our leads. So tell me, out of all the leads that are in your dashboard, we know they're in other dashboards, right? We know that they're looking online that, yes, you paid for them. They are exclusive to you, but they're not exclusive to the fact that they can go log in anywhere else, right?
Correct.
How many emails do you think they're actually getting that says like National Dog Day, bring your dog and come to this event?
I don't think so many, for
Yeah.
sure. Not
Yeah.
everybody's thinking like what you just suggested.
No, because we want to call our leads and convert them because we're still back in 2015. It wasn't as hard then. It was easy peasy in 2000. I mean, from 2008 to 2000, I'm going to say 2015 is where it really started getting tricky. I started my company and I was going to do my ISA certification in 2015. Well, actually, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, January 2016. So that I want to say the year 2014 into 2015 is when everything really started to take a turn and get more difficult converting leads because that's when we really started training heavily because then everybody was on the bandwagon. 2008 to 2012, it was still new, it was still easy to convert. We still had it was a buyer's market, it was just easy. And but a lot of people haven't adapted to thinking outside the box and doing different things and really communicating with the leads because all right, we're spending X amount of dollars for leads. I want to close these deals because we're very transactional minded, where the relationships are equally as important as the transactions because that's what's going to lead to. And I always say to be conversation minded instead of conversion minded because he who has the conversation is the one that is setting himself up for the conversion because all these leads are in all these databases and people aren't answering their phones anymore. So
Yeah.
we got to be different. If I get a text message from somebody that said, "Hey, we're having like national," if I had a dog, I'd be like, "Oh, hey, that's kind of cool." And the one thing I can guarantee you is people will go to a fair, go to like, I don't know if you like do like apple festivals or strawberry festivals. Like they have like all these festivals that come up that they have all these different vendors, these craft vendors.
Hmm.
Pay attention to what people are walking around with. They spend so much stupid money on their kids and their animals that you're like mind blown. So if you can tap in, people can be dead broke, but they're still going to spend money on their kids and their animals.
Yeah, it's an emotional thing, right? So yeah, we all do.
Yeah. So if you can attract people, if it's something that lights you up, and because not only are you going to be working with other businesses, you're getting your name out there and you're creating community, and everybody wants to work with people that are creating community. Not saying it's going to be easy, but it's a lot of fun and you meet a lot of people. And you're kind of killing three birds with one stone because you're networking, putting something together to build community and bring community together. And that's why I feel like I was so completely blessed to have started my real estate journey in such a small town. Because then you take me out of the small town and you throw me in the middle of Atlanta, or you're in the Toronto area, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you go into a big city, man. You're like, whoop. I'm like, I'm lost, man. Like, ain't nobody gonna recognize me because it's so hard to build community in a big metro area. So you really got to hone in and find those small communities. Now, you're in the Toronto area. Do you have a focus on a smaller community within
Yeah,
that?
I live in the suburb of Brampton, so mostly my business is in Brampton. So
Yeah. And you can even do it in regards to school locations. Um, because a lot of people, and I always say this with my buyers, when buyers are looking to buy, more than likely they're looking in a particular vicinity to be close to the schools. They're looking to be close to the doctors, the hospitals, transportation. So they're usually looking in a said area. Does that hold true to your location?
no, yes.
Yeah. So when you start looking and diving into a community, really doing your research, and this is what's so fun about just getting to know your market. And again, this is a multifaceted thing that you're really creating and putting together because you can go into the MLS and start looking at these locations and looking at the agents that sold the properties. And you can just go back, depending on how many homes have sold in the last 90 days, 120 days, 180 days, however far you need to go back to really get accurate data.
Hmm.
You can go back and look, and I do this all the time just to know my market and market share. I know my little town. We, as agents in my little town, we only have like 35% market share. All of the market share are agents coming in from outside, from the metro area, coming into our little town. And I'm like, no. The only reason is these agents don't know us to start with the listing agent, for the listing agent to go outside. So what they're doing is they're looking to go closer to the Washington, D.C. area. They get tied with the Northern Virginia agent, and then that agent lists their property. So they're doing it completely backwards. But we don't know this unless we really accurately look at our stats. So if you go back and look, and so in our market, it's very small. We sell about 500 homes a year in our little town market, right? Well, county, so province. So it's small. So I pull those 500 properties and I look at every single one, listing agent, listing agent, listing, and I will write them down. And yes, I'm
Hmm.
archaic. I write them down. And then if it's the second, so if it's the same listing agent, I put a check mark, a check mark, a check mark, because I want to see what agents have sold the most in my area. And then I look at the buyer agent on that sale too.
Hmm.
I want to know who is my competition. And then I want to go look at them. What are they doing? How are they getting the market share in my market? And you can hone it down even to just particular subdivisions, golf communities, just whatever type of community living that you have, you can really narrow that down and then go, okay, I just really want to create community. What is it that they're looking for? What is it that you love that you could create community with? And who could you partner and network with to bring something together to make an event happen? And then you have fun things to do in your database. And it's not just about selling houses and when you want to make a move.
Right. Well, that's a
And
fantastic idea that, making a smaller community because I think where I am, it's probably much bigger because GTA is quite big and densely populated, and we have the maximum number of agents too in Ontario as compared to rest of Canada.
yep.
So I feel, when we're door knocking, every second or third home has a realtor. At least
Hmm.
one family member or a friend would be a realtor too. So probably creating a community within a subdivision or a school postal code will be a logical thing to do. And
Yeah.
then it's easier to cater and go back, follow up with these people.
And I don't know the this year's statistics, but I remember 3 years ago, the statistics, the average person knows 9 real estate agents.
It might have gone up.
Yeah, right. And so you're like, so here we are calling leads, right? Like we want to convert. But when you have that knowledge, you're like, what's going to set me apart? What benefit do your leads in your database have to do business with you versus the other agents that they know?
Mhm.
And that's what we got to bring to the table because they need to know. And the more we know about the problem in our market that they're experiencing, the better that we can overserve because we're solving the problem. And it takes having conversations with other buyers, with sellers to know what they're experiencing. I know in our market right now, we are experiencing I'm just going to say dumb ass agents. They don't know they're behind from a hole in the ground. And a lot of them they're just not doing their due diligence. And they're just showing the house and letting them in because there's a lot of people that, I mean, they're afraid of lawsuits because people are sue happy today. It's a lot different today than it even was 10 years ago. But it's really sad how agents get into this industry and think it's going to be so easy. And then they don't even know how to negotiate. And they don't know how to we have multiple offers happening here and they don't even know how to create a spreadsheet to look through these offers in the best interest of their clients. And I've had so many conversations with people. This one lady, she passed up a cash offer um, because they had a home to sell. And I said, did you even look at where their home was that they were selling? Because she didn't have to move. She could have waited for, and I'm like, I don't understand. She's like, well, he still wanted an appraisal. And I'm like, but you took a lower offer because it was a sure thing. So many agents don't know how to have these logical conversations because our job is not to say, here, take one of these. Our job is to say, okay, we have these offers on the table. Let's look at each one and let's talk about what's best and worst case scenario and let them make their decisions. But if we just give them the offers and go, okay, pick one, they're just going to pick the best price because
Mhm.
they don't know. And that's where my drive has always been of I've got to save all these people from making really poor decisions with agents that don't know how to negotiate for their best interest. And when I'm talking to leads and they say they have an agent, I'm like, I just have to ask because I have to sleep at night. Do you 100% trust that the agent that you're working with has your investment top of mind, that they are 100% going to protect you, keep the most money in your pocket as a buyer, and make you the most amount of money as a seller? Do you 100% know that? And if they say no, which a lot of them do,
Mhm.
because they don't even think that, because they just think, oh, we have a license, we can sell real estate. Because, when I find a house I like, I'm going to want it anyway. I don't need you as a real estate agent. That's what they think because they don't know what happens behind the scenes. They don't know the intricacies of what happens in real estate.
Well, that's logical, 100%. I like the statement too, Because most of the leads do say that we do have an agent, but I think it's a fair question to ask whether do you have 100% trust in the agent you have picked, and how did you end up picking that agent also? I
Yes.
feel that's another question that I would ask.
Yes. And not only is it digging in a little deeper with them, but that's helping you understand how people find their agents.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. And that's why I always look at every conversation as like this science project, right? Like I'm always building data with everything I do, with every experience I have, no matter where I go shopping, no matter what I'm doing in my day, no matter what conversations I'm having, I'm always looking at how does this apply to what I do in my life, right? Like, how can I make the world a better place by learning what this person is telling me?
Makes sense.
Because I love to be a problem solver, right? Like I want to solve everybody's problems. I want to solve all the world's problems.
Yeah, you're solving our problem today, 20 of us at a time.
Yeah, and it is. It's just what are you passionate about and what lights you up that makes you want to go? And I never knew what to give my clients at settlement. So I did a VIP card, like the cards that you get whenever you go to the grocery store and have to scan it to get the extra sales. I
Hmm.
had the VIP card and I partnered with other community small businesses that when I had a closing, my clients got the card and they were able to go to those small businesses and get perks, whether it be a discount, whether it be a free soda, whether it be a free baby cone or a pup cup or whatever. They were able, so I'm creating community within my community. And that was just really important for me. And I always said I sold the community, not the homes. And that's really what I was known for. But you
Right.
just got to find out like what lights you up. Like, because we don't want to start something and then not be able to follow through. And so I don't know. Let me think of the cards. Send out cards. Send out cards. I learned from them, and it was so fun. Where we did neighborhood, like at Christmas time, we would do a Christmas light contest. So I would send out mailers to these little communities, like just the house, like just to the houses, right? And say, we're going to be judging, have your lights on this particular day. We're going to be judging, and you're going to be getting blah. Work with another store, work with a small business where like you could give away a bouquet of flowers, you could give away a dinner, you could like whoever you end up working with that sponsors it, it doesn't even have to cost you any money other than the mailings. We did a food, not a food drive. We did where we did mail to the soldiers. So we did a like a boxing, like you could like here's your different drop-off centers to for us to be able to mail the boxes to the soldiers. You can do flags, 4th of July. You can put flags in everyone's yards. There's so much that you can do. It's just, is it in alignment with your business model? And how can you make that work within your dashboard? Because people want to see that you're committed and they want to see that you're a real person. And I love AI. I'm Chat GPT. It's my boyfriend. I love my Chat GPT, but it's really has taken the humanness away from
Away from a
so
lot of
much of what
things.
we do. And I think people are really starving for that humanness. And I think that's why people are so like snarky whenever you go anywhere, because we're not used to communicating at a level like this anymore. COVID really changed the game, I feel, with communication and, just bringing that personality back to customer service. And it's sad, I mean, the bittersweet, right? It doesn't take much to have excellent customer service, which is very sad because
Hmm.
customer service is so bad. And then
So
just
another
being patient with
question
people.
I wanted to ask you, right? So how many times is too many times to when you're calling in online agent locator lead?
Mhm.
When you've been leaving voice messages to them and they haven't called you back. how many times do you think out of your experience that we should keep on trying before it gets too much, right?
Yeah. So my rule of thumb has always been hit them heavy the first 2 weeks, right? Because I want to know what brought you in. I want to be able to have that conversation because it's one of two things. They just started looking and they're brand new to looking at homes on the internet, or they have excelled in their urgency and they've increased how much they're looking online, right? They've
Mm-hmm.
been looking for a while and now they're really looking online. So it's usually one of two things. Or it's one of those like, oh, I went past my grandma's house and it was on the market and I just wanted to see how much grandma's house was, that she sold 10 years ago, right? So I look at my priority as my new leads that are in those first 2 weeks. And it, in my opinion, phone calls, 8 to 12 attempts.
8 to 12 attempts.
8 to
Okay.
12 attempts in that first 2 weeks. And change up the time frames that you're calling because
Yeah, just to
people.
make sure people might be busy at that time you're calling, right?
Exactly. So what happens after that 2 weeks, because you have a steady flow of leads coming in, you can't maintain that consistency when you have new leads coming in. So if they're staying actively engaged, opening up emails, looking at properties once a week, once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, at some point, sometimes they might not answer the phone, but you know what? 23 seconds is how long the phone rings with 4 rings, and then you go to the next. As long as you're verifying that it's a valid number and it's not a bad number, what's 23 seconds? If you have 50 people to call, 23 seconds times 50 is not a lot of time to crank through. And what I love about the 8 to 12 attempts in those first 2 weeks is you're eliminating your bad phone numbers, which is going to be 30%, and you're having conversations. So when you have the conversations, you won't have to worry about them falling into your 23-second bucket of trying to get a hold of, trying to get a hold of, trying to get a hold of. And that's where we tag them and put them on the shelf to know, okay, well, this person, you know, they're whatever, they're in this situation, they don't need to go on my calendar, but we're just process of eliminating and making sure that our shelves are stocked full in our store of our dashboard.
All right. Another question which I had, right? So when you're doing the 10 to 12 attempts in the first 2 weeks, right? So I generally leave a voicemail on the first attempt if they don't answer. So,
Mhm.
I've tried few things that I do tell them, oh, you registered on my website. I'm a real estate agent with Remax and call me back. Just wanted to introduce myself. So nobody calls back. But sometimes when I just leave, oh, call me back. This is Shikhar, call me back. And I leave my number. Then out of curiosity, I think they do call back. So what do you think is like, should I? And then, out of curiosity, when people call back and when you say, oh, this is a real estate agent who had left you a message, and then sometimes they do talk nicely, but sometimes they just disconnect and, you know, that whether you want to keep this lead or not. So what do you suggest? Should we just leave the right message or just keep on trying what works best for us? Or what do you think has worked for you in the past?
Are you actively engaged on Facebook?
I am. We do have to keep an account, I guess.
So I'm going to ask you to do me a favor.
Yes.
Go on your Facebook
Mm-hmm.
and just make a post and ask people, do you listen to your voicemails?
I think a lot of people might not.
Yeah.
But
So I'm
no.
not taking the time to leave them.
Okay.
We read them, and then as soon as they see real estate, they're like, whoop, block. Do you know how easy it is to block a number? Do you block numbers? I block numbers all the time when they're
All the
spam.
time. Duck cleaning
Yeah.
companies all the time.
Yeah. And this is the other catch that I'm going to tell you too. Once you have verified a number, 100% do a manual dial. I'm sorry, we're going back to 1980. Do a manual dial. So so now I have my license in Virginia. I am now active, just joined the Board of Realtors. So I'm back in the game, back in my small little town. And the agent that I co-joined with, he's like, I got this database, I got this dashboard, and we have this dialer. And I'm like, cool. And I said, I love the dialer because it records the calls, right? And I said, but it's going to show up as spam on people's phones. He's like, no, not our dialer. I said, I promise you, it shows up as spam. He's like, no, 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 I pay more so that it shows up as my name or my team name whenever it
Mm-hmm.
calls them. I said, that only works on certain provider cell phones. It's going to show up as spam. He put me in there as a test lead. I said,
Mm-hmm.
just riddle me this, right? He put me in there as a test lead. He's sitting there and he watched my phone and I go, spam. He's like, oh my God, this is
That's
not
why people are not
cool.
answering you.
Exactly, right? So who in 2025 wants to take the time to dial all the phone numbers
We
manually?
all want to, yeah. We all want to.
Nobody
If you want to
wants
make
to.
money, then you have to. This is the
Yes,
good
yes,
advice.
yes. Yes. So everyone on this call today, you guys are going to be nailing it. So I live with my girlfriend and she's a realtor and she's on a team. She's the only one out of 40 agents that manual dials. And this woman has so many conversations. She's dialing from eight at night to 9 at night. I mean, she dials like all night long. Like she don't care about times. And I cannot I can't believe how many people answer the freaking phone because it's a real phone. And they're like, oh, it's not showing up as any spam detector. Now, I'm not saying to not use your dialer. I love the dialer, right? Because especially whenever you're calling the leads that you've called so many times, 23 seconds next, 23 seconds next, 23 seconds next, and use that number to give out because whenever they call you back, it'll record in the system. So always utilize that number and have them calling you on it. And have them save both numbers, whichever. But I highly 100% suggest call a manual dial. You're going to get a hold of a lot more people. Now I'm going to go back to my voicemail. So I don't leave voicemails because by the time I listen to the voicemail and I leave the voicemail, I ain't got that kind of time. I'm just trying to get to whoever's going to answer the phone. And my point when I asked like how many people actually because I years ago I had put on my Facebook, how many people answer the phone if you don't know the number? And then the follow-up question was if they leave a voicemail, do you listen to it? It was all like no and no.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, why am I going to leave voicemails, right? It's now I'll leave voicemails. Let's just say if I've tried you, I'm on the last attempt before you kind of go into my other bucket. Hey, this is Beverly, just checking in. I know you've been online looking at some homes. Won't bother you too badly, but just want to have an idea of what your time frame is. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can get, hey, I'm going to keep calling you until you actually like let me know what your situation is. Do the whole threat. But how many people actually talk on the phone anymore? It's all text messaging anymore.
Yeah, I just, when I call and I know the number is legit, if the
Mhm.
voicemail says the same person's name, a lot of time people just put random numbers and it's not the person who's
Yeah.
registered. So if it's the right number, I tend to, of course, if I've had a conversation with that lead, then I do make it a point. I send them a text message with my details too,
Yep.
because no, I feel that they don't have the urgency to save my number that they spoke to XYZ realtor from blah blah blah
That's
company, right?
correct.
So I send them a text message, small one, which says, "Nice talking to you today. Talk to you soon once you're more ready." And this is a regards, Shikhar Verma with Remax, and just a small thank you note. And I said send my e-business card on the as a text message too, so that if they see me calling, they might just check, or they miss my call next time. You tend to check whether I've had any conversation with this person or not. So
Right. Yeah. You look at the previous text
yeah, I
messages.
do, because if I
Yeah.
don't answer any phone and I don't have that number saved, so I do first check my messages. I personally do, and I feel that other person's people might be doing the same thing before calling that person back, right? So I
Well,
agree that
and that's why I
voicemail might
always
be a waste of
say
time. I feel
with
that
our
too.
conversations, we really need to position ourselves to get lucky because the average person uses the agent that's the most convenient.
Right.
and you just luck into it, right? But the only way
Right.
we can get lucky is if we're actively always working our leads. Because again, it goes back to shopping, right? Like if I'm on a time crunch and I got to get in somewhere and I got to find that product and I got to get out because I have to be somewhere, I'm asking whoever I can to find me that product so that I don't have to like rummage around and figure out where it is. The same way, whenever we're communicating with leads, if we hit them right at that opportune time, we got it. And you just never know when or who it's going to be. But if we're always working our leads, we have a way better chance. And if that text message just pops through and it's like, hey, are you looking to buy a home in 2025 or 2026? You
Mm-hmm.
know, and that's all I need to know, really. And why?
Right. Another question. You said your girlfriend who's working in the team, right? So she calls and she doesn't care about the time. Uh, sometimes I don't call after 7:30. I feel that, people might get upset, you're calling so late, but, talking to you and you shared just that she calls even 8, 9 p.m. So,
She was calling on Easter Sunday. She has zero fear. She will call whenever. She don't care because that's when people answer the phone. It's crazy. And I mean, once in a while she'll get like, you gotta get a life, right? But
yeah, who cares about that person?
she has so many good conversations that the F off people, she don't even care because she's had so many great conversations.
So
And
you
she's
say,
calling
oh,
a lot of old leads too. I hear her having these conversations of, yeah, 5, 10 years ago, you were looking for a home. Did you buy? Oh, yeah, we bought. You don't want to sell, do you? They're like, well, if the number's right, what's your address? And I mean, she has that conversation at least once every half hour. It blows my mind.
yeah, that's quite inspiring.
Yeah, we can't be afraid, right? We got to jump in there and just make the phone calls and have fun with the conversations.
Right, right. Perfect.
Because you just don't know what you're ever going to get or just and there's so many people that with the market the way that it's been since COVID, people have wanted to move but they're all still waiting. Right, you can only wait so gosh darn long. And people that are saving money, I heard a Barbara Corcoran podcast today, and she was talking about all these people that are waiting, right? Well, prices aren't coming down. And the more that you wait, the more that you save, the more you're going to need to wait and the more you're going to need to save. So you keep saving, saving, saving. You're going to you're going to have to save more and more and more because it's all going to be the same in a year and 2 years from now. So we really need to get to the point of what is their urgency? What is your have to make it happen? And do you need to make it happen? And for a lot of people, they might not should be moving right now. And it's just a pipe dream for some people. But that's our job to let them know, and I always say our job is to make opportunity meet their expectation. But once I know your expectation, I can let you know if
Just
there's any opportunity out there.
right.
We just got to dig in and ask enough questions to find out what their expectations are. Because I don't want to meet with you if you have a stupid, crazy expectation that ain't ever going to happen. But I'll meet with your friends and family.
Yeah, did
Did
I
we?
miss?
Oh,
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah. All right. So other thing which I wanted to know, I've seen that sometimes people come online, they just check one property and they just vanish, right? So, and you try to call them, but they're never active. They've never opened any email or responded back, and you've tried few times. So, I know if you're getting a lot of leads, then probably you could just pass on that lead. But, do you think it's still worth
After the 8 to 12 attempts,
just
I
leave it?
so and that's where the pipeline is so important to be moving people in the right stages of the pipeline because in that trying to contact,
Mm-hmm.
if you're in tried to contact, that means I've never had a conversation with you. And that call filter is fair game. So in those first 2 weeks, if I'm trying to contact you, and you haven't answered the phone after 12 phone calls, I can't maintain that level of consistency. So as the leads become a little bit older in your dashboard, so you have leads that are 30 to 90 days old, that can be in one bucket. Then you have leads that are 90 to 120 days old, that can be in another bucket. If they're active, so if they, most likely they're not going to be actively looking. And that's where I would say just do mass text messaging to those people. And I don't look at that one lead that's always online looking, but never answers the phone, because I just look at everyone's 23 seconds, 23 seconds, 23 seconds. I don't look at stats because nothing matters to me but getting the call in and moving on to the next if they don't answer the phone. I don't care what's going on behind the scenes with them, because I'm not taking the time to set up anybody's search unless I've had a conversation with you. Because you have leads in there, I promise you, their husband, their wife, their mom, their dad, their brother, their sister, their best friend is a real estate agent, but they don't have the MLS. I mean, you probably have an agent in there that was looking for their client because they don't have the MLS. I mean, I've seen it before. Oh, I'm from the other side of Canada, but my girlfriend was moving to Toronto, so I took it upon myself to log into your website to see you, trying to find a house for her. Yeah, agents do it all the time. So I refuse to spend an iota of any more than 23 seconds with a lead until I have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just, let them fall into the different buckets. So once they become, and now if they're actively engaged and they're looking, then they're just getting calls once a week. They're going to fall into which filter would it fall into, Crystal? You're muted. There you go.
Yeah, I saw that. Which one are we what?
So if you have leads that you have been trying to call those first few weeks, and then they become they're still actively engaged, but you've never gotten a hold of them.
That would be his second filter, his number 2. Like you'll see it pinned on his dashboard on specifically Shikhar's. On other people, it's your second priority. You've already tried calling them once, but you still haven't had those conversations.
Yep. First priority, second priority. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The number 2 filter. So as long as you're clearing those filters out, you're actively, consistently working your leads, and those filters aren't going to get crazy long. And that's why I like the 23 seconds next, 23 seconds next, 23 seconds next, because you can plow through them. But I will tell you, like every 2 to 3 times through the dialer, go back and do a manual dial. And just play with it and see how much more interaction you get whenever you do a manual dial. Unfortunately, I'm such a fan of the dialer. Like I dial wrong phone numbers all the time, because if you have a keyboard and your number pad is on the right side, it's opposite of the phone. So your phone, whenever you're on your phone, the numbers, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, it's backwards on a keyboard.
Yeah, that's
so I'm like always dialing wrong number. So when I dial the number, I'm like, look, while it's ringing, I'm looking at the number I dialed and verifying that it's the right number that I actually dialed, because I'm forever dialing like that number's dyslexia. But it is another step. But I look at it like this, right? Slow and steady wins the race. And if it's going to improve my conversation results, it's worth the time. And did I answer your question about voicemail? I don't know that if I was clear about.
Yeah, you said you said you'd never leave a voicemail because nobody tends to check it, and as soon as they hear real estate, they generally will delete it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's my experience, and I just don't have the time, because some people have really long voicemails.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes it even takes a while to get to the voicemail. You're way past the 23 second 4 rings to get to their voicemail too. And I'm like, I can't spend 2 minutes on a lead when I'm trying to call 100.
Right.
I'd rather
No.
take the time to manual dial.
True.
Yeah.
No, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. But don't let time or certain days of the week stop you from
No,
making
I think like few things which I loved is that don't be shy and just don't worry if you call 8 in the night or 9 in the night or on
Yep.
Easter Sunday.
Yep.
Just call and you never know, somebody will be always free to talk that time, because if you're free, they're free too, right? So
Well, and that's it, right? And when you get the person that has an urgency, they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you called." Right?
yeah, sometimes it does happen and they have questions. It might not convert there, but down the line, then it might get into a solid lead. They might
Yeah.
get into the hot mode.
And as long as we are coming from that place of service of, hey, Shikhar, this is Beverly. I noticed you were online looking. I don't want to be intrusive, but I'm just wondering, do you have any plans on making a move? And it's really heartfelt. It's not like, hey, you were looking at homes. When do you want to go look at a house? I mean,
Yeah.
and we really do need to hold back on that saying too much, because when you see a number on your phone that you don't know who it is, what do you expect as a telemarketer, right? Pretty much we expect it to be a telemarketer if we don't know who's calling us, right?
Yeah, that's true for sure.
So when they answer the phone and they're like, hello, and we're like, hi, this is Beverly with da 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 with this website. They didn't even hear what you said, because they're just trying to figure out who you are and if they want to continue the conversation. So the quicker we can get to the punch of, hey, Shikhar, this is Beverly. I saw that you were online looking at homes. Or if it's a home evaluation, I saw that you were looking for a home value of 123 Main Street. I saw that wherever the lead came from, just go right to the jugular. And that way they don't have to think about the company and the website, because it doesn't matter. None of that matters because they're on 5 different websites anyway. And they're not going to remember
Right.
the website I mean, it's just like when you go meet somebody and you're like, oh, hi, I'm Beverly and I'm Adam. And 2 minutes later, I'm like, what the heck was that person's name? It's the same way on a phone conversation. Like, we think they're going to remember our website, but they don't. They don't remember who brokerage you're with. They don't remember your website. All they remember was they were online looking for a home. Yeah, keep it short, sweet, and simple. And have fun with them. Yeah. I love your questions. You had great questions today. I hope this was worth your time.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. And I love the spirit, and the smile that automatically I'm smiling looking at you, that you're full of energy, and your friends, stories about them, that she doesn't care. She's going to call. That spirit, I think that will help save a lot of realtors.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try doing that. And I think another time I used to waste a lot of time leaving voicemails too. Probably I'm gonna try not to and just make more calls instead in 23 seconds rule, right? So that's something which should help.
Absolutely.
Because I think if you try more numbers, chances of getting more converted people is higher than leaving a voicemail, because you're very right. Nobody listens to voicemails, and sometimes, we just need to talk rather than leaving a voicemail. So
yeah. Well, and so much of our voicemails just come through as text anyway, right? Like we read.
yes, absolutely. And I think the other part is that if you already were in touch with that lead, you had a great conversation, then she or he might listen to your voicemail, rather than just a telemarketer voicemail.
Yes. The only reason I listen to mine is because I don't like the little number showing up on my thing.
Yeah, I think that's OCD. And
then I go to I'll force the little button over so I only have to hear it, because I'm like, I can get what I want out of pretty much reading it if they speak clearly. We are at the top of the hour. Crystal, did anything pop through to address before we jump?
No, I didn't see anything pop through that I can see on here.
Maybe you can ask everybody if they have a question. They can type it now.
All right.
More commentary.
Good. All right. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you, Beverly, for your time.
today.
It was really awesome talking to you.
Wonderful. Well, go out there and get them.
Gotcha. There we
Yeah.
go, right?
Phones are not going to stop
Awesome. Well,
ringing
thank you,
tonight in
Shikhar, for
Brampton.
jumping on.
Thank you. All
Thank
right,
you.
guys. Thank you
Have
so
a
much for your
great
time.
day, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All right. See you next
Bye.
month. Bye.
Bye.